All right, here we are, Monday afternoon, and the depth chart came out not too long ago. Want to talk a little bit about that. Want to chat with you guys about anything else you want to talk about as we get into game week. LSU hate week. It's been a while since we got to hate LSU. Florida State, the massive advantage in the all-time series. I was watching the 91 game this morning. How many people in this space or on YouTube, wherever you're watching this, were alive during the 91 game? I barely was, not to give away my age, but I was barely alive when Florida State came back to beat LSU in 1991 in Baton Rouge as the number one team in the country. If you've seen the meme, they had us in the first half. That was that game. If you haven't watched it, it's available on YouTube, but that was totally that game. They had us in the first half, and then the fans in Tiger Stadium went home sad. Let's see if we can get a repeat of that. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're checking this out, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. If you're here in the spaces, you can certainly hit the share button on that as well. Bunch of news, bunch of different stuff coming out for you guys. There's a Rising Spear podcast that's going to be hitting your timelines and your feeds that I know you guys are going to want to check that out and hear it. It's timely. I'll say that, not to give away too many hints, but it is timely. And I think you guys will like that. So if you haven't, go subscribe to the Rising Spear podcast, whether it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you enjoy it, go check them out. We had a good time with Rising Spear this weekend at the tailgate. Some of the softball girls were out. If you listen to yesterday's space, I won't go on the same rants that I did yesterday. Richie had me in a mood for being at a baby shower at noon. But if you weren't on the spaces yesterday, we had a great time at the Rising Spear tailgate. I see them in here now. Appreciate them. Did some cool stuff. Hung out with the softball girls. They are, listen, I know that I get in trouble every time I say this, but that's my favorite group of athletes on campus. They are just like the most genuine, kind people. They were great to my daughter, which is all I really care about. And then, inside the game, had a great time. But risingspear.com, if you haven't signed up to be a member yet, I'm just telling you, you need to do so. A lot of great content coming from those folks this fall. Should be a lot of fun, what we're able to do with them. But you're going to love tonight's podcast. So I'll say that. It will be, I'm not sure yet. It'll be tonight in the morning sometime. It'll be somewhat soon. So risingspear.com, taking care of our student athletes. Really, really good stuff there. All right, let's look at this depth chart. I want to talk with you guys about anything that concerns you, anything that you are worried about. I don't know if the depth chart release could have been any better for FSU. I think that a lot of the questions that we had, a lot of the concerns that we had have been at least by way of the depth chart, right? And I'll say this, I'll preface this. Florida State's depth chart is not the end-all be-all, right? Last week, Cam McDonald was listed as starting tight end. I believe he is again this week. I guess I can look it up. I'm looking at it right now. And, and then he hadn't been practicing. He didn't play last week. I actually do think he gets in this week. We'll see. I haven't really dug hard on that one by any means. But just because somebody's listed on the depth chart does not mean that they're certainly or definitely going to play. And if somebody's missing, it doesn't mean that they can't get back in. I will say it does go a little bit more that side. Like if they are missing, not typically a great sign. But Malik McClain wasn't on it last week, and he got in and got some burn. Pokey Wilson and Duke Cooper were on it last week, and they weren't in. So I will say you can't just take the depth chart that comes out on a Monday for a game that's going to be 6 days later as gold. But I do think that it's very encouraging that somebody we talked about in depth, and I won't say that this is the most important returner to the lineup or to the depth chart, but I do think it's really, really important that Maurice Smith is back. We talked about this on last Monday's Spaces. I was being told that Maurice Smith would be available for the LSU game. You always want to be somewhat conservative with how you say that. You always want to be a little bit baited and not just guarantee that somebody's going to be back. But I was being told, I was told that if we played LSU last week, that he would have played. So I don't know if that's true or not. but I was told that he would be back. I told you guys that last week. This is not about me, like pat myself on the back or not, but that's what happened. So good news there. Maurice Smith listed as an or on the starting offensive line at the center position. Huge for FSU. Darius Washington got maybe slightly banged up in the game, never went in the injury tent, but didn't come back. I thought he looked at times like he could have been a little bit better. I thought Gibbons looked really good at center. But I think if you've got your full plethora, obviously outside of Lyles, right? And I probably can stop prefacing that. But I think if you've got your full complement of the offensive line, even a Maurice Smith at 75, 80, 85% is probably a pretty good situation to be in. Robert Scott locks down the left tackle. I think Bless Harris locks down the right tackle, and you feel pretty good about that. I think in the center, though, you can really mix and match a lot of those guys around. In an ideal world, it's Washington or Smith starting because I like Gibbons and Scott on that left side. But then on the right side, if you had to move Gibbons to center and move Emmanuel over to the left side and have Jaston take the right guard, you could do that. Something happens on one of the edges, you could move Darius out that way. There's still really, really good depth on this offensive line. I think it's a really, really good sign that Maurice Smith is on the depth chart this week and wasn't last week. Does that guarantee that Maurice Smith plays this weekend? No, it doesn't. I think it's a good sign, though. I think it's a really good sign. It matches up with what I was told last week, what we shared here on the spaces, what we talked about on Double Fries No Slaw. And now he's on the depth chart, listed as a potential starter, right? I don't think they're listing a guy as a potential starter if they don't think there's a good chance that he's going to be playing. So I think that's really, really good. I don't know which direction I would lean. Again, Darius didn't look good at times when he was in there. I think he's got some things he can clean up, some things he can work on. Gibbons, I do think look good at center. But I don't know which way Mike ends up going. I don't know that it really so much matters, though, because I think if with the depth that you have, with the ability to move pieces around, and like I said, in a worst case scenario, I think you move Gibbons to center and you move Emmanuel over and have Jasteen on that right side. So I feel pretty confident about FSU's offensive line. Now, if you lose three guys, knock on wood here, if you lose three offensive linemen to injury in the same game, in the same 60-minute window, you're not winning it. So to me, that's what has to happen for this thing to implode on Sunday night in the Dome. But that's probably true of any offensive line in America, just for the record. Three starters go down in the same game, you're losing. I don't care what team you are, right? Maybe Alabama or Georgia or something could withstand that. But any team loses three starters, that's not a good situation. I'm not even all the way out on, I don't even know if that's a definite loss. I will say I really like Schrader. I like Estes. I don't know if you guys saw the picture of Armella that I posted, but I almost didn't even believe that was him as a true freshman, just how big he is. So, I really don't want to see Armella in this game. I think we're in pretty good shape on this offensive line. I'm very encouraged there because I love how the depth on this offensive line is still a strength. I said this the other day too. I think that because we've been so high on the O-line that people just automatically assumed that our offensive line would be just great or way far above average. I don't know that I've ever thought that. I don't know that that was ever my expectation for the offensive line. The offensive line has been so bad for years that my only real want there was that we would be average to good, right? Give me a top 50 offensive line in college football, right? Because we've been in the 70s and 80s, according to PFF and these other sites for years and years and years. It's tough, right? For me to think that we're going to be top 20, top 30, anything like that. But if I can just be top 50, slightly above average with the other skill positions that we have, I think that would end up being pretty strong. Feel really good about the offensive line. No real changes anywhere else. I will say it's good on the offensive side that you do see Ontario Wilson back in there. Pokey listed as potential starter this weekend, him or Duquesne. Again, the or is big with any kind of FSU depth chart. But I think that's really big. I would expect him to play this weekend. Also, Johnny Wilson listed as a potential starter I think it's big that he's there as well. I'd imagine that it's going to be a situation that he has that lingering injury, but I also think that that's something that he's just going to be able to play through. I don't know that that's going to be the most comfortable for him, but I think he'll be fine. Sounded like he was trying to push to go back in during the game. There's really no reason to risk that against Duquesne. Defensive side of the ball, the two maybe question marks or the two things that I think everybody was probably looking out for are Amari Gaynor and Amarian Cooper. If Cooper can't go on Saturday, which he is listed as the depth chart starter for your first cornerback position, if Cooper can't go, it's going to be a long day, right? LSU's best player is their stud wide receiver, and I would be concerned if Cooper's not out there. I thought that there were times that the secondary in this cornerback position looked like they were struggling just due to the fact that you didn't have your top dog out there and everybody else had to play one position off, right? Like a little bit out of position. Hopefully that's the case. I'm really, really high on Kevin Noles, and I thought that he didn't have a great game. Again, maybe that's a little bit being out of position because you didn't have your top guy there. I thought you had to play Seymour and I talked about this yesterday, but thought you had to play Robinson a little closer to the line than you would like to. He's still the real deal and absolutely fantastic. But if Cooper's back, if he's fairly close to 100%, I feel really, really good about that matchup. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that he's going to shut down Boutier. Like, I certainly don't take that. But I like him on LSU stud better than anyone else. Gaynor's the other one that I think we would have probably had a question mark around. Saw him in a boot, got some, a message or just some concern around that being a pretty long-term injury. I really don't know what to think there on that because I do, kind of trust the person that sent me that, but it wasn't like an official source or anything like that. But good to see him listed there. Linebacker depth is definitely a worry if something happens to Gaynor. You've already lost Dix. Really like what we have out of Deloach Lundy, and Bethune was fantastic on Saturday and is going to be a monster for this team. But if Gaynor goes down 2, then you've lost 2 depth pieces at that linebacker position, and the drop-off from those top 3 is really, really brutal. So anyway, those are some quick thoughts about it. I don't know that this depth chart could have come out any better for FSU, right? I don't know if there's anything on here that I would say like, oh man, but what about this? Or what about, I think it looks pretty good. I'm excited for this weekend. I think that Florida State is in the best position and they've gotten into this LSU game as healthy as is possible. I do think it's possible that any of the guys that we've mentioned here today, whether it be Johnny Wilson, Pokey, Cooper, hopefully not, Washington Smith, any of those guys could miss the game, right? Like I wouldn't even be shocked if you saw one of them in street clothes or not get in or whatever the situation was. So, Florida State releases the depth chart. Best case scenario, I think they're planning on all of those guys to play. But I think there's a situation where you could see some of those guys not get burned, not get playing time based on a lingering injury, based on some other things. I really like the wide receiver group. And so if you feel confident that Pokey's back and you feel confident that Span and Pittman and some other guys can carry the load, do you maybe continue to sit Wilson? I know that he's kind of your red zone threat, and so maybe that's not the best example, but I could see a situation where some of these guys don't get in, or maybe one or two of them don't get in, but I think most of them will be out there and available for Florida State, and I think that's really, really important. Question about the time that we did the spaces or the YouTube today. Yeah, we're not really trying to compete with anybody. It's just when I got off the phone and was able to fire them up. So I had kind of planned to go around noon, and then a couple of things came up and happened. So I understand that, the GOAT Jeff does his show right now. I can't really help that. So sorry. He does his show every single day at the same time. So I don't know what to say there. But you can always watch both of them on replay. Like everybody can eat. So no big deal there. So a question here on YouTube. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, if you can hit the subscribe button. We also put out the Winston Wright news yesterday, which was really good. I'll kind of give a quick recap there. If you're watching on YouTube, smash the subscribe button. If you're here on Twitter, on the Spaces, hit the retweet button. We certainly appreciate that. I'll give a quick shout out to Gramco, thegramco.com. We're throwing a Gramco tailgate this weekend in New Orleans. If you are in New Orleans, it's Gramco, Double Fries, No Slaw, and the Roll Up Network, all bringing you the best tailgate in New Orleans. Well, it's not free. I want to say like free food, free drinks, free, like all this stuff. It's not free. Okay, so I take that back. You do have to pay for a ticket to get in. It's 2 blocks from the stadium. It's all you can eat Guthrie's, jambalaya, all you can drink, beer, liquor, Delta 8, THC seltzers, shade, a massive, massive tent, private bathrooms, DJ, some Florida State athletes showing up. Nobody on the football team, obviously. We're going to have a great time. If you need info on that, I've sent out a bunch of messages today. You can go to rollupnetwork.com and click on merch, and it's the first item there on the merch site. Gramco is helping us put that on there. Hey, you need to get your orders in now so that your Gramco is delivered before you get to New Orleans. They'll be out there. They'll be hanging, but get your Gramco now because they're not going to just give you guys everything you want. Like they'll give some samples, but TJ25 at thegramco.com. Get your order in now. Again, the orange hard candies, the quick mixes are my recommendations. I had some gummies in my pocket on Saturday. I was going to give them out. Gummies in the heat don't mix so well. So I would suggest the orange hard candies would be my move there. TJ25 at thegramco.com. Okay, if you guys have questions, if you want to request, you certainly can. Hit us up at any time, and we will get after this. We'll hang out. We'll talk about the depth chart. If there's anything else you want to talk about, shout out my guy Mo in here. Can't wait to see you back out there this weekend, my man. If there's anything you want to talk about the Duquesne game, if you've rewatched it and you have any thoughts there, I'm happy to take them. Looking mostly ahead at LSU, but if you have a thought or two about Duquesne, happy to hear that. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the game coming up this weekend. Got some other questions in here. Excited to see how Dilly calls the game Saturday against the Dogs. I am super excited for that matchup. First of all, I'm just excited that college football is back. I got to watch a little bit of the Nebraska-Northwestern game at the Rising Spirit tailgate this weekend. I did not get to watch any other football besides that. Well, in our game. So being inside of the game kind of took that away. It will be nice on Saturday to just watch football all day. Like I haven't been able to do that since January? That will be awesome. So, yeah, I'm very excited for the Oregon-Georgia game. I'll be watching that with my boy Kraken. I got a graphic coming out. We're doing a little watch party at Kraken's place. Spoiler alert, we got some FSU athletes stopping by that. You guys are going to want to come hang out Saturday night so we can watch Utah beat the hell out of the Gators. That'll be fun. But I am. The specific question was about Oregon and Georgia. I am excited for Oregon. I think that now that they've gotten rid of a mediocre in-game coach, that Oregon has a good chance to be really, really good this year. It's going to be Oregon and USC for a lot of the marbles there in the Pac-12. I think that there's not a better storyline than Dan Lanning getting to go up against his old team. And then you get to see Kenny in there too, which, I like Kenny a lot, right? Like Kenny was kind of a cornball, but so am I. I like Kenny. I'm excited to see him out there in Oregon against Georgia. I think that one will be a ton of fun. There are some other, okay, let's do this. There are some other good games, and I'll get to you guys as are requested. If you're on YouTube, again, hit the subscribe button. We do these spaces like 3 times a week, and then we do 2 double fries shows. So, 5 shows a week is going to be kind of crazy this fall, but it is fun, and I like interacting with you guys, so I'm all about it. Some fun games. West Virginia, Pittsburgh on Thursday night, like to start it all off. That's a ton of fun. You got McElwain going up against Oklahoma State on Thursday night as well, Central Michigan. McElwain and Gundy, like what a pair that is on Thursday night. Again, Pittsburgh, West Virginia, I think that's a ton of fun for a Thursday night. South Carolina State, so Tennessee, UCF play a couple of, nobodies. Penn State and Purdue. That's a fun one. It's not terrible. It's about it on Thursday. Friday, there's nothing crazy good. Illinois, Indiana, TCU, Colorado. That sounds like a Bourbon Street night to me. Friday night sounds like a Bourbon Street. Temple, Duke, Tennessee Tech, Kansas. Yeah. If you're in New Orleans on Friday night, Western Michigan, Michigan State. Again, Eastern Kentucky versus Eastern Michigan. None of this is Virginia Tech, Old Dominion. It'd be cool if they could get upset. But Friday night in New Orleans, Tennessee Tech in Kansas, that's a Bourbon Street night. We're hitting Bourbon Street heavy on Friday night. There's nothing. You're not missing anything. It'll be on at the bars anyway. Saturday's full of bangers, though. Saturday's going to have some great, great games. Oregon, Georgia at 3:30. Huge. Cincinnati, Arkansas, a ranked matchup. Obviously, Florida plays Utah. That one's a ton of fun. Go Utes. And then, the actual game that everyone cares about. Oh, sorry. I see Bree in here. Her Ohio State Buckeyes take on Notre Dame. That's a fun one. I can't believe Ohio State's a 17.5-point favorite in that game. It's a top 5 matchup. 17.5 points. The game's in Columbus. Maybe, 14 points on a neutral field. Louisville, Syracuse. That's an interesting one to watch out for. Going to be tough to divert your eyes away from Ohio State and Notre Dame, as well as Florida, Utah. But if there's a third game that you're watching, it's probably that Louisville-Syracuse game, right? You want to see how Louisville performs in their first game of the year? Louisville starts off on the road at Syracuse. They're only a 4-point favorite in that game. Then they go to UCF. Then they get us. I think that Louisville game, obviously I'm more interested in Utah, Florida. I'm more interested in Notre Dame, Ohio State. I want to see how Malik Cunningham in Louisville looks against Syracuse in that first one. That's a sneaky good game for ACC folks, right? Like if you're a Florida fan, you don't care about that at all. I think that's one that we do care about. Sunday night, only game, Florida State, LSU, and then Clemson, Georgia Tech on Monday night. I don't know how excited I am for that one. But I do like that we're the only game on Sunday. Marquee matchup, Florida State, LSU. Line hasn't moved. We talked about that yesterday. I know that the timeline was ready to shut everything down after Florida State won by 6 touchdowns on Saturday. But Vegas hasn't changed their mind about the game. LSU's about a 3-point favorite in their own backyard with a larger crowd and no travel. And a better coach, according to most everybody that we know. So if Vegas hasn't gotten their panties in a bunch about this, maybe FSU fans shouldn't either. All right, let's get a couple of you guys in here that are requested. If you're on YouTube, feel free to throw questions in. Mike, I see you hanging out, my man. I also see Marlon, KP, Johnny, all you guys hanging out in the YouTube comments. I appreciate you. Feel free to utilize the super chat. Make sure you're subscribed. Let's get some speakers on here. What do you guys got for us today? What are you concerned about? Are you worried about anything? I'm not really concerned about anything right now. Slime Dime, what's going on? This might be the thing where if people are requested too long and then I just go on these rants, but they don't get to talk. Slime Dime, I'm going to remove you and then just request again. No gifts. This one would probably work. You didn't request that long ago. Yeah, I got you. How's it going, my man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. So I have a comment that I thought was my, you can only take away so much from the Duquesne game, but what stood out to me was that it seemed like for the first time in a long time, probably years, this was the first time where I felt there was kind of parity between the expectation of the team and the actual execution on the field. And I know there's a lot that goes into that, but it was really kind of the first time that I felt that way going into a game and then after the game ended.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, you finally felt like they did what they were supposed to do, right? I mean, I think you felt that a little bit against I think a lot of people forget the UMass game because it was kind of sandwiched in between like a beat down in Miami and, some other stuff. I mean, they came out and did what they were supposed to last year in that UMass game, and they won 59-3 in a game that was even more dominant than Saturday was.
Sure.
So I think a lot of people forget about that. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Over the last 9 games, Florida State's 6-3. I mean, that's not the standard. That's not what we need to be. If you get to 7-3, and that includes a win against Miami and a win against LSU on the road, you're 7-3 in your last 10. That's something I think you can sell. That's something you could sell to Hakeem Williams, right? So,
yep.
But I agree with you.
Yeah, well, so I have anyone who's not familiar with the New Orleans area or maybe hasn't been there in a couple of years, I've got a spot that I highly recommend. It'd be a great Friday night spot, great Saturday spot, and even a great Sunday spot. So on Saturday and Sunday, they open up at 11 a.m., but it's called the Chop Yard. It's south of the Warehouse District, obviously off of Chaptula Street. Kind of like a beer garden, great food, really big space, yard games. I mean, it's just an absolute blast. So don't want to steal anyone away from the tailgate you got going on with Gramco, but that's definitely a great spot to hit Saturday and Sunday morning.
Dude, I might have to go hit this. Is it Friday too? Like, I'm free Friday night, so we need to find something to do Friday night. Somebody else sent me this. You're not the first person.
Yeah.
This place looks awesome.
They open Friday at 3 p.m. They stay all the way open until 1 a.m. and then Saturday 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. and Sunday 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. So it's a great like day spot.
Checking it out. Yeah, I like that. Good stuff, man. We'll see you out there.
All right. Have a good one.
See you, buddy. I need some oysters while I'm there in New Orleans. Is this a month that ends in R? Oh, I got like a few days. Oh no, it will be by that time. You're not supposed to have oysters in the month. If the month is it you're not supposed to have oysters if it ends with R, or are you supposed to have it if it ends with R? Somebody correct that. Somebody let me know on that. But if it's like the beginning or end of a month, like how much different is August 30th versus September 1st, right? Like, is that, the oysters just all of a sudden turn bad or something? I think it would be fine. Or if it's the other way, like, are they all of a sudden good? I think it's Acme Oyster House is where I went the last time I was there. I got to confirm on that, but I'm pretty sure that was it. Acme Oyster House. It just sounds familiar. What else you guys got? We got some comments here on YouTube. To be honest, I'm not that worried about anything. I think we had the tune-up game, which is just what we needed to go on the road and handle business this weekend. Yeah, I feel good about where we're at. I don't really have a lot of concerns. Now, if you just saw a depth chart come out today without Maurice Smith, Cooper out, Johnny Wilson not on it, Pokey Wilson not on it, I think we'd have been concerned. Nothing that happened on Saturday concerned me. I didn't love the play by some guys, but first game stuff, no big deal. The team's going to be up for it. Mike got the team up for an 0-4 game against Syracuse, right? Mike got the team up to play against NC State with nobody there and no quarterback. Mike got the team to play for Miami when they were a dog at home. Mike got them to play for Notre Dame. So I believe that the team would be up for it. I wouldn't be shocked if it's a slow start. Kind of feel each other out, see who makes the first big mistake. Somebody sent me a message about Azariah Thomas. Yeah, kid's the truth. They need to take the effing leash off and let the man play. He looked great in his movements, mannerisms, and ranginess. Reminded me, oh boy, this is not me saying this. So let me just pause before I say it. It reminded me of someone who wore number 8 at FSU. I don't think he means Devontae Freeman. Yeah, Thomas is going to be the truth. I'd like him to get a lot of burn this season because we're only getting him for 2 more years. Slime Dime wrote in, how can we get the wide receivers we want if we throw the ball 15 times a game? You can't tell me you're impressed by. I think Florida State avoided throwing the ball for a couple of reasons. One, to keep less stuff on film for LSU. And 2, it was a nasty, rainy, gross game. I don't think that recruits are looking at that game that Florida State just played and concerned at all about the amount of times they threw the ball. I just don't. I don't think that that's a real thing. Now, they come out and throw the ball. I mean, and first of all, they didn't throw the ball 15 times. Jordan threw the ball 15 times. I think Tate threw another 6 and Duffy threw another one. So, not that 22 is that impressive. But I think you're going to see a lot more passing this weekend. I think, as we said, I think I may have mentioned this the other day, but through the second half of the year last year, Florida State threw the ball a ton. Jordan Travis threw the ball 29 times against Florida. He missed 3 series, right? Threw the ball 29 times. He missed 3 series. So he probably would have thrown the ball about 35 times if you just say he throws the ball twice a series. Against Boston College, Jordan Travis threw the ball 34 times. Against Miami, Jordan Travis threw the ball 26 times. And we gashed them on the ground. The team went nuts on the ground against Miami. Any hole that we wanted, it was there. Our secondary stunk too, though, so that's why we threw it more. Against NC State, we didn't even have our quarterback, and Milton threw the ball 44 times last year. Against Clemson, the passing was down a little bit. Jordan had 22. I think that was a feel it out and see how things go. But I don't think you needed to throw the ball a lot yesterday. Saturday. I think that, Jordan throwing the ball 15 times doesn't worry me at all. You're going to see him throw more this weekend. LSU may load the box, man. We put 400 yards on the ground. When something's working and you want to keep your quarterback healthy and injured, I don't think you just drop him back. I don't have a problem with Jordan only throwing the ball 15 times Saturday. Like, that's not something that I worry about. He's going to throw the ball a ton on Saturday against LSU. Got some more YouTube comments coming in. You can eat oysters during the summer. It's just risky eating them raw. Life's about risks. I have no issue with taking chances. Boy, that'd be something. Get sick on Friday night, don't even make the game. I think you just throw it all out. You'd be fine. Take your risk on Friday night. If you got to recover on Saturday, you'd be at the game Sunday. I'll take the risks. I'll bear this cross for you guys. TJ, what are the chances we come out Sunday in the all whites, helmet, jersey, and pants? I put it at like 1%. I won't say 0, but it's probably 0. Traditional road uniforms come in this Saturday. I'd love if LSU wore the whites so that we could go with the garnet, but I got traditional road uniforms. The whites would be off the chain. Here's why I don't think it'll happen, though. I don't think they're going to pull out those white helmets on the road. I think that's going to be something that if and when they do it, they're going to do that for the fans in Doak. That would be my gut there. They're going to do that for the fans like Aaron Cabrera, who walk from Jacksonville to Tallahassee so that they can see games. There's no way they would do that in New Orleans. Watch them do it in New Orleans just to make me a liar on this. I think it's pretty low. I would love, traditional white uniforms. That's what we've got. Oh, any more news regarding Johnny? Because, boy, I was staring at that tent when he went in. Yeah, I said this yesterday. I'll add Joshua real quick, and then we'll continue to take questions. Oh, let me talk about Johnny after I talk about Garnet and Gold. GarnetandGold.com. I don't see Garnet and Gold or Gramco in here today. Maybe they're boycotting. GarnetandGold.com. I was at Garnet and Gold. Those are the best people in the world, just to let you know. Like, just legitimately great people that you're supporting. You're also supporting people that give back to the boosters and our NIL athletes. Hey, I gave away on Friday. I said I would do this. I gave away one of the Garnet and Gold NIL shirts. First person to order at garnetandgold.com. We gave away an NIL shirt. I think it was Fabo. So shout out Fabian, love it. Man, our defensive line, the middle of that defensive line is just something. I'm excited to see that this weekend. Gave away a Fabian Levitt shirt. Hey, Spaces 15 will save you 15% on your Garnet and Gold order. Again, they give back to the boosters. They give back to our NIL efforts. They literally have shirts on their website right now that you can go buy that not only support Garnet and Gold, but go right into the players' pockets. It's Jordan Travis. It's Fabian Levitt. Oh, it's Jamie. I don't remember who the last one is. Sorry, Garnet and Gold. I'll pull it up right now though, so that I say it, and I'll give somebody the love here. Let's see, men. Yeah, let's see. Wonderful live radio. If somebody knows who the fourth one is, you could just tell me, or you guys can listen to me struggle. Gainer. Maybe it's not Jamie. Oh, Gainer and Dent. Okay, cool. Gainer, Dent, Fabo, and Jordan. It's good stuff, man. Shout out Garnet and Gold. All right. Let's get Joshua in here. Let's get a few of you guys that are requested in here to speak. What is our best five in your opinion? Oh, okay. That's a good question from Brent. I'll answer that in just a minute. Joshua, what's going on, my man?
Happy Monday, y'all. How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm ready for the game.
Me too. Me too, man. Me too. I'm I don't know, man. I know that we've been down quite a bit, but to see the people like try to point out all the bad things about the game after it's our first victory on a first game of the season was kind of disconcerting. But I guess some people don't want to be happy. But overall, I was just happy to see us win and play pretty well.
Yeah, I think if Florida State would have won that game by like 10 points or something, I think people would have a legit beef to be like, what in the world is wrong with this team? But for the spread to finish at like 41 points and the team win by 40, and you literally scored every possession minus the Tate interception and the punt at the end, which I think that was probably the right move. Like, I think Mike knew that he could get that first down if he wanted, but up 40 in the fourth quarter, I think it's probably the right move to just punt on 4th and 1 there. So, yeah, people that would complain about that, I mean, just, they like being miserable, I suppose. But, yeah, I agree with you.
So, totally. And the one other thing I can see about the game I was disappointed in, especially after seeing Tate play, Jordan, for God's sake, please slide. Don't take those hits against Duquesne.
Lost you. Lost you, Josh. Josh, call back in. I'll get you right back on here. Somebody asked me who I think our best five are on the offensive line. Yeah, I think it'd be the way the depth chart is laid out. Scott, Gibbons, I'd put Smith to start, Emmanuel, and Bless. Maybe move. I don't know. I thought Bless Harris was pretty good. Maybe move. I think you need to keep Washington. I wouldn't move Washington back to tackle. You need him as your backup. So I'd leave that the way it is. Yeah, I'd have it just how it's listed as starting right now. I thought that was going to be a better answer than I ended up giving once I started answering. Here's a comment. Y'all will probably wear home uniforms unless Brian Kelly changes. LSU will wear their basic white and yellow uniforms. I had that take on Double Fries No Slaw like a week ago, or maybe 2, and Richie told me I was wrong, that LSU would wear their home uniforms. But I kind of think LSU wears the white too. So now I'm flip-flopping on my own answer on here. I would prefer, if obviously it will depend on what LSU does. Does LSU have uniform insiders like we do? Or uniform truthers? That might be a better answer, better way to put it. Like, who's the LSU Tariq knockout? Get them in the space. Okay, here's an LSU fan. Mario Colodo? Mario Colodo?
What did you say, TJ?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, good. No, we normally wear a white shirts with gold and gold helmets like we normally do.
Is that your home uniform? Is white?
We wear them for all the games I know of, sometimes we wear purple jerseys. But most of the time it's white.
What do you got? What do you think about the game this weekend?
I don't know, but I know one thing, that dome will be rocking.
Should be fun. I'm excited. You going?
No, are you?
Yeah, I'll be there.
I think I heard somebody told me y'all sold 20-something thousand tickets. Is that correct?
I think whatever the allotment was, right? Like, so if the allotment was 20,000, then yeah. If the allotment was 30,000, like whatever they gave us, we sold out of. And I'd assume LSU did the same thing, and then I think the rest of the tickets go on sale to the general public, right?
Well, the LSU band could be there for sure, and then y'all's band's probably gonna be there.
Yeah. It'll be rocking, man. I'm excited for it. I see you're a Saints fan. Are we gonna win? We gonna win the division this year?
Who, me?
Yes, our Saints.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Saints fan. They can't have to play Dirty Birds your first game in Atlanta.
Yeah, they'll probably James. I got 5 touchdowns for Jay Boo, and it'd probably be like 35-7 final score.
What, you're a Saints fan too?
I'm a Jameis fan, so a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, my man. Well, good luck this weekend. Not too much, but a little bit. You have a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
I knew I was right about those white uniforms. Richie, I'm firing Richie. Yeah, I think that guy's right. Yeah, like I'm trying to think back. When do they ever wear the purple? I guess for special occasions. Joshua, I hope you got better service this time because I'm not adding you back again.
No, and you shouldn't, man. My ladies kept FaceTiming me downstairs because my kid was doing something goofy, and so I gotta take those lumps when I have to. But yeah, sorry about that.
Sounds like we sold.
Sounds like we sold
30,000 tickets was our allotment. So
nice.
Just to answer the last question, Joshua, what you got?
Well, also answering, I eat oysters from January to December with no guilt, and I don't give a shit. Oysters are delicious. I don't care what time of the year it is. I'll eat them all the time, and I've never had an issue with it. So you'll be just fine, my man.
I'm gonna live. I'll find a way. I mean, if I don't, then I don't. Is what it is.
Exactly.
I went out seeing FSU win their last game of my life, so it is what it is.
Exactly.
By 40. Exactly. So what more could you want?
Exactly. Well, my only concern, what I would say was just J-Trav, please slide. Because there's a couple times during the game I thought he took unnecessary hits. And after watching Rodemaker, I mean, some people believe the lies about how good he was looking. I definitely didn't, because when the lights come on, that kid's eyes just get way too big. But every time J-Trav ran and he didn't slide, I was like, please no, just because we have going on next week. And he's going to get hit the next weekend for sure. But the less lumps he can take ahead of time. That was my only concern. But other than that, it was a great time, my man. It's just great to see us have a win the first game of the season.
I agree. No, I think so for sure. I will say, I was thinking the same thing when like J-Trav wasn't getting down. The one like devil's advocate I'll play that, he was bigger than all of their guys. So like I wasn't as worried as I will be this weekend. Sure. This weekend, get down, my man. Like we ain't playing that game with LSU.
For sure. And I think my only concern this weekend, and don't get me wrong, LSU is talented, but everybody's acting like they're leaders of the SEC. They were a really bad team last year, and they lost a bunch of guys. They did get some transfers in, but they didn't really recover all the people they lost and through the draft. But I will say this, I am worried about Butte, especially if Cooper's not going to be there. I know Jamie's going to help out and not probably press as much, but that kid can play. He's a big body. And, seeing how some of our DBs were out of position, and don't get me wrong, it was the first game of the season, that'd be the only concern I have. But yeah. JT Daniels, I have no concern of whatsoever.
So it sounds like LSU hasn't named a starter. They've picked one, but they haven't named one. So Brian Kelly will take this all the way into the game. You got to think it's Jaden Daniels, right? Like if it's not, then bring it on.
I will say this though, TJ, because where I live, Pac-10 games are on around late. I know you guys are usually sleeping, but there's nothing else on. I'll watch some of those, and I've seen the kid play. He can run, he can throw, but as soon as that kid gets hit, he gets happy feet, and he'll start to throw the ball to the team. So if we can put pressure on him, if it is this kid, I'm pretty confident that he's going to make some mistakes and we can capitalize off that.
I'm with it. Joshua, I'm counting down the days till we can have a beer in Tallahassee for the Clemson game.
Oh, I can't wait, my man. I can't wait. And appreciate y'all doing this. We're going to have a good week, and I can't wait till Sunday, my man. So enjoy your day. Again, thanks again. Love y'all, and go Noles.
Love you, my man. Hey, I don't know if anybody took advantage of the offer that we had last week with Primetime 2121. What we'll do is we'll announce a winner for that at the end of the week. If you email Tony Perez at tperez@dspins.com, tperez@dspins.com, just say go Noles. That's all you got to say in your email. You ain't got to write him a love letter. You can if you want. Tony's a great guy. Email tperez@dspins.com. Say go Noles. You get entered to win a $50 Garnet and Gold gift card. Got some more questions here in the chat. Again, if you're on YouTube, if you're watching, we got some good numbers in here today. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Again, you can always utilize the super chat function. I don't know why people like the roll-up so much more than me, but we do the same numbers, and the roll-up super chat just is lit up with donations the entire time. I get like $2 every other day. So I know those guys are better than me, but just make me feel bad when nobody does it. Whatever the insider gets the uniform plan for the game will be the GOAT insider of the scoop. I'll work on the uniform. I'll work on getting you guys the uniform updates before the official count tweets it out on Saturday morning. Any word on Ja'Kai Douglas? That's a good question. I have not gotten any change to update on his status. I would expect Ja'Kai back like later in the year, right? And I'm not going to put a timeline on that. Like obviously Winston Wright, we kind of expect back in October, based on what he legitimately told me. I think Douglas might be a second half of the year type thing. I think if you could get him back, maybe coming out of that Clemson game, you got the bye week there, and then your schedule gets considerably easier. You have the two rivals, but outside of that, you shouldn't lose a game. You shouldn't even be competitive, right? You should beat Syracuse. You should beat Georgia Tech, beat Louisiana. If you could get Ja'Kai back for those last 5 games, I think that'd be huge. I don't have a timeline on that. I'm just totally making that up. Like that's just what my gut tells me would be a great timeline for Florida State. Let's get some more people in here. Kyle Brown. I see a couple of LSU fans in here too. I'll get you guys added in just a minute. I'm not opposed to having LSU fans on. The LSU fans that I've been in their space and stuff, I like LSU. I cheer for you guys every year against Florida. Cheer for you guys every year against Bama. I like LSU. I've got no beef with LSU fans. It's when the LSU fans have the Gator fans jump in that the spaces end up going off the rails. Kyle, what's going on, my man?
Hey, TJ, how you doing?
I'm good.
So I'm hearing some whispers through the Florida toll booth systems that Jameis is going to give a little pregame speech and lead us out of the tunnel. So wondering if you could throw Slip and Benny out on here and give us his thoughts.
Where is Benny? Is Benny in here today?
He's in.
Benny, you can request anytime, my man. He hasn't requested yet, but I'm happy to get Benny in here.
All right. And then the other thing I wanted to say was I think without Kenny Dillingham, our play calling looked 1,000% better with Norvell calling the plays.
Mike is a good play caller, right? Like there's no go back and watch the Memphis stuff, right? Like when he had guys that he that he had recruited and done a good job. Like I don't think anybody disputes that Mike's a good play caller, right? And I will say, so again, I'll try and bring my excitement for that back down a little bit. When you're playing a team like Duquesne, you can do whatever you want. You're probably going to look pretty good calling plays. So I will say that like this weekend is the bigger test. But I agree with that. I think even some of Mike's biggest critics would say like, yeah, he's a good play caller. So that doesn't. I'm in complete agreement with you there. I just think it's more, he's the guy. It's his offense. So him calling the plays, it's not an extension of him and Kenny Dillingham calling the plays. It's him, right? Just like with Jimbo. Jimbo was here. You wanted him calling the plays. It was his offense.
Yeah.
And he did.
Do you think Atkins is giving like any input into it, or is he just really focusing on the O-line?
I think those guys are all chatting. And yes, I would say that Atkins gives input, but at the end of the day, it's Mike's the one calling the plays. Mike's the one making decisions. I'd imagine it's something like, hey guys, I think we should run this. And Atkins either, yeah, I think this is why that's a good idea, or no, I don't, I don't love that. And here's why. And most of it's going to be pretty focused around, no, I wouldn't run that. Like, Darius looks a little dinged up. Like, let's run something else. Or I wouldn't run that. Bless looks a little dinged up. Like, let's go around. That, literally just making that up. No inside info that's how it's happening. But it's Mike's offense. He's the one making the calls.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think that you could have a position coach speak up about why they don't think that's a great idea. Hey man, Trey looks a little dinged up. Like, no, go away from him on this play. Okay, well, they make a substitution, they go away from him. But yeah, I think it's Mike's calls. And completely.
All right, sounds good. Toll booth contingent will swing by the tailgate in New Orleans. We've got a big squad going.
Always good to hear. Sounds like Slippin' Benny's on a call at work. The toll booth supervisor must be on him.
All right, sounds good.
Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Gramco.com, thegramco.com. TJ25 at checkout. We're giving away some green apple candies, green apple gummies to some people from last week. I've got those ready to go and queued up. You guys are going to like that. So we get to try them before just about anybody else. Go check out the gummies, man. That's just absolutely where it's at. TJ25, thegramco.com. All right, I got 2 LSU fans requested right now. Again, if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Sounds like LSU wore white in a neutral site game against Oregon and UNC recently. All right, I'm changing my prediction. FSU in their traditional home uniforms because they don't clash with LSU's traditional home. LSU, I like that about us. Listen, I like LSU. I'm not going to like them on Sunday around 7 o'clock Central, but I like LSU. I like the tradition. They're the best tailgate scene in all of college football. Debate that. Jambalaya is also, I like LSU. I just am not going to like them on Sunday at 7:30. But then Sunday at about, give me till Tuesday. Give me till Tuesday. I'll like them again. I'm going to want them to do well. Whether they win or lose, I'm going to want them to win the rest of the way. Crying Belly, how's it going?
What's going on? What's going on?
How you doing? I figured if I said a bunch of nice things about
good.
you guys, then you wouldn't come in here and give me a hard time.
No, I wasn't coming in with an aggressive motive. I guess my question would be to you is that what happens, because obviously as a Florida State fan and even an LSU fan, you expect your team to win. But what happens, though, for the future if you do lose the opener? And if you win the opener also? What are your predictions?
Yeah, so if we win the opener, I think that's massive for FSU. There's not a bigger game on the schedule, right? Florida State hasn't started 1-0 since 2016, meaning they haven't started 2-0 since that year, right? They played a cupcake after they beat Ole Miss. And so, yeah, this is something we haven't seen in 6 years, right? A Florida State 2-0 team. You win the LSU game, right? You're then going on the road 10 days later to play Louisville, right? And you might be a favorite in that game. Florida State beats LSU. Are they ranked? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but maybe they're close to ranked. I don't know. So you go on the road and you play Louisville after that. And there's no reason, if you beat LSU, there's no reason you can't go beat Louisville. I don't think it's like an automatic thing, like you automatically go win that game. But I think you feel pretty good about getting that bye week. Louisville has to play 2 road games to open the year. They're at Syracuse, where they're only a 4-point favorite. And then they're at UCF, which they needed kind of a miracle to pull off last year. UCF's quarterback goes down. Fluky interception to end the game. So, yeah, I think that you beat LSU, it opens up the possibility to maybe go 4-0 to start the year. At worst, 3-1, because I think you beat BC. If you lose the game, it makes that Louisville game all that much more important, right? The Louisville game becomes a must-win. Whereas if you beat LSU and lose to Louisville and then you beat BC a week later, you're starting 3-1, and that's fine, right? You might get to play Hartman without a quarterback. And so I think either way, you're in really good shape. If you lose to LSU, the Louisville game becomes massive because you can't start 1-2. You got to find a way to split these games at worst. So I don't know. I think that a win would be massive for the program. Florida State, a fan came on here, and I forget who it was, but Florida State fan came on a few weeks ago, and I think it was Kevin. I think it was Kevin from Puerto Rico. Kevin came on and said that for the last few years, Florida State has been the butt of all the national jokes, right? You had the Jacksonville State thing. You had the Travis Hunter thing. You had Mike Norvell and getting into it with Marvin Wilson. You had this happen or that. Even going back to the Taggart days, you had the MLK thing. And we've been the butt of the national jokes for years and years and years. That's just what it's been. Florida State goes into LSU's backyard and upsets a college football power, a top 15. I don't know where you guys kind of rank yourselves in all-time college football. To me, LSU somewhere between 10 and 20 as an all-time team. You upset a top 15 team in their backyard on national TV when no one else is playing and everyone's watching. That would be massive for this program. It would be the first time that they weren't the butt of every joke, and maybe the narrative starts to change. Maybe Florida State and Mike Norvell are viewed a little bit differently. Because I'll tell you, Florida State fans are patient with Mike Norvell. There was a massive roar for Mike Norvell when he was announced on Saturday in Doak Campbell. But then I think the biggest thing is that the national narrative starts to change if Florida State can find a way to win this game. Nobody's going to say, oh, well, LSU was just a 6-7 team last year. Nobody's going to say, like, oh, they stunk. You go beat LSU, people start to actually respect Florida State again. That's my take. You lose, you better beat Louisville.
I think the only way Florida State wins the football game is if they outcoach Brian Kelly and the staff, because I just don't see a scenario anywhere on paper where Florida State can outplay LSU just based off of athleticism and so.
Yeah, I think we would have said that last year, probably going into the Notre Dame game. Like, I thought Notre Dame was really, really talented going into it, and Florida State found a way to take them to overtime. I think we would have probably said that going to the Miami game last year. How would Florida State even have a chance in this game as a dog at home with Tyler Van Dyke, who is the best quarterback in the ACC? Florida State found a way to win that one. I think we would have said the same thing going to the Clemson game last year. Florida State obviously fell there, but they had the lead with 3 minutes to go. So I don't disagree with you on that. I think LSU is, on paper, the more talented team.
But I think you guys do have some sort of edge, though, when it comes to you guys have played a game already. And I think as an LSU fan, I think the biggest thing for LSU is that LSU needs to be able to weather the storm in the first half and basically not mess up. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be their first time as a team going up against an actual football team in a real game. So I think they need to be able to weather the storm. And then I think the second half is whenever, obviously it's my take, I think the second half is whenever LSU is going to be able to pull away and start,
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to think that that's not a very realistic scenario. I mean, LSU's favored in this game for a reason. Again, on paper, they are more talented. Game's not played on paper. We'll see how it goes. I think there are certain places that Florida State can take advantage of LSU. I think that there are places that LSU can take advantage of Florida State too, though, right? I think Florida State's secondary concerns me against LSU's wideouts. I think Florida State's offensive line worries me against LSU's defensive line. But I watched Florida go up and down the field on this defense last year. And so I think Jordan Travis can have some success in this game. I think that Florida State's defensive line can get after that offensive line a little bit. I like LSU's defensive line more than I like Florida State's defensive line against, each opponent. But I think Florida State's defensive line can do some good things. And Florida State's linebackers are the better linebacking unit out of the two. I don't think we have a lot of depth, but I like our linebackers there. So I think there are places that Florida State can kind of exploit, but it's who capitalizes, right? Who makes the better decisions? I don't like Florida State on special teams. I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on your team there, but, special teams could be a worry or a concern. But, yeah, I don't know. On paper, I think LSU's probably a smidge better, and that's probably why Vegas has them as a 3-point favorite in their own backyard with probably more fans there. But it's not played on paper, right? So we'll see. I appreciate it, man. That's a good call.
Thank you, TJ.
Yes, sir. All right, got about 10 more minutes, and then we'll do our best to get out of here. Let me get Max on real quick, and then I got CJB as an LSU fan that we'll get to as well. Max is doing a great job with the Seminole Executive Brief. Max was with the Locked On Network, I think. Is that right? Locked On?
Yeah, that's right.
Now doing something with Hunter. Hunter produces the Danielle Kelly show. Max with the Seminole Executive Brief. I love these because I go on these long-winded rants that are just ridiculous for like 20 minutes, and I'm surprised that people tune into them. What I like about Max is he's concise. He gets the news out there in like 90 seconds. I can just watch the video on Twitter. Usually just go to the YouTube right after that. Check out the YouTube for the full 10-minute video. But Max gets you caught up really well in the brief. Max, what's going on, though?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Sorry, I've only got a couple minutes, but I wanted to hop in. Guys, if you check out the Seminole Executive Brief, like TJ said, we're we're not able to compete with the in-depth analysis y'all do. And if you know me, it's really hard for me to be concise, but it's kind of the goal of just, hey, if you only have 90 seconds that day, get caught up and then go listen to Double Fries when you've got some more time and the kids are in bed and all that good stuff. But, so I was looking at this, man, and one thing that's really stood out to me about this LSU team is just how transfer heavy it is. Looking at their projected starters today, and I looked and I think I tweeted out, but their offensive line only has 31 starts, right? A big chunk of those coming from an FIU transfer. They've got 2 projected transfers in the secondary. And I'm just thinking out loud, like how much of a home field advantage do we think it is when you're playing so many transfers and young guys? Like, I almost feel like they're going to be just as rattled by a huge Superdome crowd, unlike an LSU team where you have a bunch of 3rd and 4th year starters who are used to the noise and all that. So I almost wonder if LSU fans aren't overestimating how much of a advantage this Superdome thing is going to give them.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I don't think that the Superdome is a massive advantage. Florida State sold 30,000 tickets. What's the capacity there? Superdome, Caesars, Superdome capacity. 74,000. So you have to imagine that Florida State fans bought up some of those tickets, right? But even if they only bought their 30,000, I mean, that's 40%. So, let's say that Florida State fans bought none of the other tickets. Is a 60-40 split that noticeable? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that that's that noticeable. And if Florida State fans bought any of the remaining tickets, then that split's even less. I will say, you talk about some of the transfers, which brought up something that was interesting and something I wanted to bring up really quickly. Florida State returned a lot of production from last year, the 11th most in college football. LSU did have, the 13th most. 77% of FSU's roster was returning. You know where LSU is on that? 70th. Florida State returned the 13th most production, and LSU returned the 70th out of 130 teams.
An interesting point on that too is that number is a little off in my opinion because we lost Jayshon Corbett on offense. If you look at just defense, I think we bring back like 85 or 86%. We're in the top 5 in the country. Yeah. So if you look at what our strength is here, our returning production is a huge advantage here. And again, I apologize, I'm going to let you have your space back. But yeah, I think about what position is communication most important. Offensive line. So they're going to have 5 guys that really haven't played together in an incredibly loud environment that, is about a 60-40 split. And I think the LSU gentleman who was on here, I think his prediction is exactly right. They're going to make day one mistakes just like we did last week. And if we can capitalize on those early and then hang on late, I think it's a pretty good recipe for us. But again, we'll see.
Yeah, it was a common theme with Florida State last year, and there were games where we came back. But down the stretch, it was jump out early and hold on for dear life. Would not be shocked at all to see that play out on Sunday. Can Florida State hold on late? I don't expect Florida State to get up 17 and then win by 20, right? Florida State's going to get up by 17. It's going to be a scratch and claw and fight because LSU's coming. And do they come all the way back and win? Do they end up losing late? I don't know. We'll see. It's a 3-point game. If you're absolutely convinced one way or the other that this game is 3 points, you can make a lot of money in Vegas. So go put some bets down. All right. That's kind of my takeaway there. Max, I appreciate you, my man.
Thanks a lot, man. Talk to y'all.
See you, buddy. All right, let's do one more and then we'll get out of here. I know we got a couple other people requested. Sorry guys, I want to try to get to everybody, but it's kind of impossible with how many folks are on here. CJB, you've been requested for quite a while, so I want to get you in, man. Appreciate you for holding on for a while. Right before CJB goes on, if you're watching this, if you're listening, on July 1st, we hit 500 YouTube subs. We're up over 1,200 now. So that the goal is 2,500 by the end of the year. So if you're watching this live, if you're watching on the replay, hit the subscribe button. Help us hit the goal, and we would certainly appreciate that. If you're watching on, or if you're listening on Spaces, what do we got? A couple hundred people in here? Yeah. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's youtube.com/ C/double fries no slaw. Go subscribe on YouTube. We'd appreciate it. All right, CJB, now that I got my commercial off, how you doing, man?
All right, what's happening?
I'm good. Sorry to just assume it was a dude. I guess a lady could call in here too. I see my favorite Miss Jeannie in here listening. But what's up, man?
Now, I wanted to answer your question about the uniforms. Traditionally, we wear the whites on home and away games. Obviously, depending on what the home team would do, but we normally wear whites. The purples we would normally wear for cupcake games.
So if they wear the purples this weekend, it's disrespect. That's Brian Kelly being disrespectful. What you're telling me?
Yes, but that's not what they're going to do. And as far as like alternate uniforms, typically they'll give hints during the week of that game that they're wearing something alternate. But other than that, we're going to be in white.
Got it. Are you going to the game? I'm looking forward to it, man. It should be fun either way.
No, I'm not going. I'd rather watch it on TV. I can go piss when I want to without having to wait in line, and no better seat than being at my house.
I feel you on that. I just take a colostomy bag, bro. It's no big deal. I'll just pee right there.
Yeah.
No, I'm just messing with you.
No, I'd rather watch it home.
I appreciate it. You're kind of like the LSU. We got a guy named Tarif Knockout. He's my buddy. Not giving him a hard time, but you're kind of the LSU Tarif with the uniform info. So I appreciate you.
No problem.
Thank you, my man. Good luck this weekend. Actually, no, I take that back. Good luck the rest of the weekend. Not too much this weekend.
All right, y'all too.
All right, buddy. All right, I guess we can do one more because he didn't have we'll do one more and then we'll get out of here. Pop. Philippians 4:13. No limit Pop 6. He jumped off. I lost him. Oh no, you still there, Pop? Everybody's name is Pop. We got Pasty Pops on here. We got Pops Deloach. I lost him. All right. Ignorant LSU fan. I'm going to add you because you got the Saints thing in here. We winning this division this year or what's going on?
Of course we are.
Let's go. Jameis for MVP. I'll put the bet on that right now.
For sure. And I think all of that negativity surrounding Jameis is just it's just such a bad narrative, man. It's crazy.
It is a little bit ridiculous. I know nobody tuned in to hear me talk about Jameis, but you're here, so that's what you all are going to hear for a minute. But yeah, I mean, come on, bro. Like he was throwing the ball like 60 times a game in Tampa and, having to play hero ball because the offensive line was just absolute garbage. And Jameis made mistakes. Like, I'm not saying he didn't make mistakes, but come on.
I mean, for reference, you can even use Tom Brady's first year in that system. Tom Brady had the worst year he had in 10 years in that system.
Yeah.
Like, so it's going to happen. But look.
They just got hot late. They got hot late.
I got a question for you. What is your score prediction for the game on Sunday?
Man, I don't know. And you're making it tough on me because I usually do it on like Thursday, so I avoid it for all week and then do it on our preview show. I think so. I'll give you a score prediction, but I won't tell you who's winning because I don't know yet.
Okay.
But I think it's something like 27-24. I could see a 31-27. Like I think it's close. I think it's who can make a fewer mistakes and who can get out and finish, right? I would not be surprised at all if FSU, because of the extra week, does kind of get out to an early lead, maybe something like 13-7 at the half or something like that. And I think that LSU is going to come back. They will come back roaring. They will come back raging. And can Florida State hold on? If they can, maybe they hold on like 27-24. If they can't, maybe it's LSU that's like 31-27 because they got that last touchdown or something. So I think that is likely how the game goes. But I mean, since I've just said that and it's recorded, there's zero chance it goes like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was thinking it was gonna be. It's pretty much whoever gets off the field on third downs.
Yeah,
that's literally the way that I'm seeing this game going. Whoever gets off the field on third downs, you feel me, like tackles for loss, like stuff like that is gonna be big in this game, especially with us because it's our first week. Like y'all said, with the offensive line, it's a lot of talent on the offensive line, but the offensive line is all about continuity and stuff like that. So I understand it from that perspective, but it all depends, man. It's gonna be a good game for sure, though.
It'll be a ton of fun, man. There's a reason they made this the Sunday night game. There's a reason the entire nation's gonna be watching. A lot of people want to see which one of these teams, and it's huge for both teams, right? Brian Kelly starting off the era. Can Mike Norvell and the team get the monkey off their back? But it is going to be fun.
All right, man. Good talking to you, bro.
All right, my man. Appreciate it. You see how much easier it is to talk to LSU fans than it is. See, LSU, they're an SEC school, but this is why I've always liked LSU, because they're not like the rest of the ignorant people in the SEC. I've always thought they were Bayou FSU. Like, I've always thought that. I like LSU. I'm not going to like them on Sunday night. But you see how you can actually have a conversation with those people? Go try and have a conversation with somebody in Gainesville or that supports that team. First of all, you can't even understand half of what they're saying. They make no sense at all. They don't talk football. They just tell you how bad you are. Oh, yeah, middle bowl and four. Okay, I get it. We stunk. Can we talk about football? You can't. It's impossible to have an actual football conversation with those people. Shout out LSU fans. I didn't know that I would do that today. All right, we have some great stuff coming up with Rising Spear tonight and then tomorrow morning. Go click on the Rising Spear page. You got to scroll back just a little bit, but find their podcast. If you just go to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever, and type in the Rising Spear podcast, it'll come up. We've got a great episode coming for you guys tonight that you're going to love. It'll either hit the video stuff tonight, which will be on YouTube. You can go to Rising Spear's YouTube and subscribe there, or you can check it out on podcast tomorrow morning. But it'll be good stuff. You'll enjoy it. Go support them. If you have any questions about that, shoot me a message. If you need any info on the tailgate this weekend, shoot me a DM. I'm happy to send over the link. I'm happy to get that to you. We will be back on, I don't know that we'll do a space on Tuesday or Wednesday. If something crazy happens, we will. We'll jump in here and do that. We may or may not have an LSU FSU hype video dropping tomorrow morning. We dropped a lot of content over the weekend on our YouTube page, Double Fries, No Slaw on YouTube. Go check all that out. I went on a rant about how I was upset about you guys this weekend. I also dropped a little Winston Wright news. So go check that out on the YouTube. If you're here on YouTube, you can just click over once the video's over and you can watch that. Rising Spear, if you're not a member, become one. Boosters.fsu.edu. If you're not a member there, go ahead and get that taken care of as well. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. Excited to get to New Orleans and hang out with all y'all. If you're going to be in New Orleans, hit me up. Let's get together. Let's hang out. Let's get over for the watch party at Kraken's. I will get the edit for that up before 5 p.m. today so we can promote it. The watch party on Saturday night. Let me know if you guys need anything from me. We will be back. Until next time, go Noles. Still here on YouTube. I know we dropped a few people just because y'all are in here. Again, 55 people in here watching the video. Appreciate that. Stats say that 80% of people are not subscribed when they're watching a video on YouTube. I know that that's probably lower here because you guys seem like good people that are watching. Literally, swipe down on the chat, hit the subscribe button. LSU fans, you're welcome. You're welcome to subscribe. You can turn off notifications, but you can subscribe even if you're an LSU fan. Hit that button. Let's hang out. We'll be back on Thursday with a preview show. Got a lot of content dropping between now and then. Smash subscribe, thumbs up, like, leave a comment, do a super chat, all those things. We'll see you guys next time.